I moved to a trailer park in California because I had a lot of debts and not much money left. So, I had no other choice but to find a cheap place to live. The road to the trailer park seemed to go on forever, surrounded by dense forest. The air smelled like pine trees and decay. A big change from the busy city life I was used to. When I got to the trailer park, I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach. The trailers looked old and run down, like nobody had cared for them in years. It was nothing like the nice suburban neighborhoods I used to dream about. I parked my car and stepped onto the gravel driveway, feeling heavy-hearted. The trailer I was moving into looked like it had seen better days, with peeling paint and rusty metal. Inside, it was even worse. Cold and empty, with a musty smell that made me want to leave. Unpacking my things, I felt the weight of my decision bearing down on me like a heavy burden. That's when I met Rick, my neighbor. He seemed to come out of nowhere, offering to help me move my stuff. But there was something off about him. He moved strangely, like he was hiding something. Later that night, Rick showed up at my door with a bottle of whiskey, his eyes shining with a strange intensity. Despite feeling uneasy, I agreed to go to his trailer. The air inside was heavy and suffocating, and Rick's gaze made me feel like he could see right through me. As the night wore on and the whiskey flowed freely, the atmosphere inside Rick's trailer grew increasingly stifling. The air seemed to crackle with an electric tension, and I found myself unable to shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. It was then that I noticed them. Tiny droplets of dried blood, scattered like macabre confetti across the worn linoleum floor. My heart skipped a beat as a cold shiver snaked its way down my spine, my mind reeling with the implications of what I had stumbled upon. With each passing moment, the weight of Rick's silence pressed down on me like a suffocating blanket, leaving me gasping for air in a room filled with invisible terrors. And then, as if to confirm my worst fears, Rick suddenly choked and bolted out the door, leaving me alone in the oppressive silence. When Rick dashed out coughing, I saw it as an opportunity to catch my breath, and I went to the bathroom. Standing in front of the mirror, I splashed water on my face, desperately trying to shake off the creeping fear that threatened to consume me. But when I looked up, my heart nearly stopped. There, on the counter, was a knife stained with blood, and next to it, a woman's purse lay open, its contents scattered across the floor. A chill ran down my spine as the gravity of the situation sank in. It was now painfully clear that Rick was hiding something sinister, and I had unwittingly stumbled into the middle of it. Panic gripped me as I realized the danger I was in. All my instincts screamed at me to run, as far away from Rick's trailer as possible. The knife gleamed menacingly in the dim light, its blade stained with dried blood. It was a chilling reminder of the danger that lurked beyond the bathroom door. In my head, the pieces of the puzzle began to come together, painting a terrifying picture of what had transpired in Rick's trailer. It was now abundantly clear that he was not just a strange neighbor. He was a predator, preying on innocent victims who had no idea of the danger they were in. With a sinking feeling in my stomach, I realized I had to get out of there before Rick returned. But when I turned to leave, a noise from outside the bathroom made me freeze in my tracks. The sound of approaching footsteps sent a chill down my spine, and I realized with a sinking heart that my time was running out. Suddenly, a voice from outside the bathroom startled me. It was Rick, asking if I was in the bathroom. In a shaky voice, I confirmed that I was. Before I could realize it, Rick shouted angrily, accusing me of being in the bathroom. In a panic, I tried to open the door, but Rick locked it from the outside. I was trapped. My heart was pounding in my chest as I frantically searched for a way out. When I noticed the small window in the ceiling, I realized it was my only chance of escape. With trembling hands, I broke the glass and screamed for help at the top of my lungs. Rick must have heard my screams, because a few moments later, he burst into the bathroom, eyes glinting angrily, blocking my path. Despair overwhelmed me as I realized I was facing a dangerous predator. In a last-ditch effort to protect myself, I grabbed the bloody knife and held it out in front of me, warning Rick to step aside and let me out. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I stood in the bathroom facing Rick, the blood-stained knife clenched tightly in my trembling hand. Rick raised his hands in a gesture of surrender and stepped back, a malicious grin still playing on his lips. Seizing the opportunity, I cautiously edged past him, never letting my guard down for a moment. With the knife still in hand, I exited the bathroom, my eyes darting around the trailer for any sign of danger. Once outside, I wasted no time in putting as much distance between myself and Rick's trailer as possible. With each step, my heart pounded in my chest, the fear of what had just transpired still fresh in my mind. As soon as I was a safe distance away, I fumbled for my phone and dialed the emergency number for the police. Breathless and shaken, I recounted the harrowing ordeal I had just endured, praying that help would arrive before it was too late. With a sense of relief washing over me, I collapsed onto the ground, the weight of the trauma I had just experienced finally catching up to me. But even as I waited for the police to arrive, I knew that the nightmare was far from over, and that the scars of that fateful night would stay with me for a lifetime. A few minutes later, flashing lights and sirens pierced the darkness, announcing the arrival of the police. They listened intently to my harrowing story, and their faces showed concern and disbelief. Later, the terrible truth was revealed. Rick, my neighbor, was responsible for the disappearance of 3 people in the neighborhood.